Ah, what a wonderful day we have ahead of us. It's Thursday. It is the 13th of February 2014, and welcome to Day 9 Daily number 680, where we learn to be a better gamer. My hair is quite froofy and aloof today because I'm rather amped for today's topic. Terran vs. Protoss is a matchup that's kind of marked by sameness from the Terran side of things, really. We'll look even at an example game of this to kick things off. It tends to be a very withdrawn match, a very pulled back, a very wait until the later game for Terran. When the game begins, very often Terrans are saying, well, let me just try to get the medivacs up and then I'll loosely do some pressure. And then even then, Terran players are saying, well, I got the medivacs, but let me just expand and begin getting ghosts, or expand and begin getting vikings to respond to what you're doing. It's all about trying to do something good later on in the matchup. From my point of view, I see very little crazy new wild stuff from the Terran side of things, which is why so often we tend to hear people theorizing and postulating about the possibility of mech. But in today's episode, what we're going to do is look at a very aggressive, very drop-heavy play from Dream. We'll talk a little bit about what that means, how he does it, and how he wins. Tomorrow I'm going to play Tomb Raider. Hope to see you for that. On Monday, it's Fun Day Monday, the offensive turtle Terran, where you're going to win with turrets and bunkers and tanks and annoyingness. Slow and steady and true will be your call then. I think we're good to go. If you're having a difficult day or a stressful time, have no fear. For in the daily, we just enjoy ourselves some video games for 90 minutes. And that is an okay thing to do. Got an exam that didn't go so well? Perhaps you're dreading Singles Awareness Day tomorrow. Have no fear. If we're talking about StarCraft is here. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Let's talk about misery in the Terran vs. Protoss matchup. So I've loaded up this game. This is from the wild card matches leading up to the GSL round of 32. And I chose this game as a starting game with the sound and music on because I wanted to show what a normal kind of Terran structure looks like versus a very normal kind of Protoss structure. The point of this is so we have a baseline to understand what Dream's drop-heavy Terran vs. Protoss is going to do. Now, there's first a statement I want to make. Terrans de-emphasize medivacs against Protosses nowadays. Obviously, medivacs are one of the most important things in the matchup. You need them to keep your Marine Marauder alive. You need them to dodge around force fields. You need them for maneuverability around the map in general. But what we don't see them used for very much at all anymore is for drops. It's pretty easy to do one medivac drop and have it get easily shut down by blink stalkers. Kitties. The cats are really interested in the loudest objects in the room. Anyways, you drop one medivac, blink stalkers take it out. Or photon overcharge comes up. Okay, well, let's try two medivacs. That often feels like I'm going to invest in a bigger loss. So we've seen drops kind of disappear. So what does that mean? What tool does Terran have? It tends to be just muscle and might. So let's go ahead and take a look at things. We've already stated muscle and might and de-emphasis on the medivac as a unit. De-emphasis on the medivac as a unit. We're not going to be getting a lot of medivacs. Because if a one medivac drop seems weak and a two medivac drop seems weak, it's unlikely that a consistent play revolving around 3, 4, 5 medevac drops will be successful. Certainly we'd say that there's circumstances where a 5 medevac drop is totally a correct, sudden, unplanned move from Terran. But we want to talk about a strategy that's consistent, not a, oh, here's one situation that happens every now and again. I do shows about those sorts of things, but today is not such a show. So here's a very typical looking opening from the Terran. Opens up to just check out what's going on and hopefully get away. Protoss will defend as best as he can against this, and then just do his normal sort of thing. Back on the Terran side, we see a fast gas used to get a fast reactor. and you probably hear me say this a million, billion, trillion times, if you're not going to use it, don't get the gas early. So if you go for early gas, you should probably get an early engineering bay for upgrades, or an early reactor, early add-ons, and that sort of thing. We're going to see the exact same thing out of Cure. Let's not get too complex right now, because we're trying to set a baseline. We're trying to get concepts. Muscle tends to be the Terran play. Sometimes players will not go for these add-ons or upgrades first. Sometimes they'll go for the medivacs. Sometimes they'll skip an engineering bay and just play out to tech up. But it tends to look something like this. Terrans will get 3 barracks with the varying upgrades and add-ons. +1's a big piece of that. Terrans have started to do these sorts of little pushes, maybe to tease out a mothership core to kill it. We see, oh, that's right, it's on this side. We see the engineering bay getting a little plus upgrade. And if we just think about the amount of time it takes to get a medivac at all, we can start to understand that Cure is just not going to be able to get his medevac count up very high. We'll see medevacs arrive around 10 minutes, sometimes 11, which is what's going to be the case this game. I think some units popped in here, doesn't matter. I mean, we have some units lost here, doesn't matter to me. What's going on back home is what matters. Look at this key moment in the Terran lifetime. What's going on? This is the mid-game convergence point. All builds end here in some way. Engineering bay, getting +1. We see stim, combat shield, and concussive shell done. We see 3 barracks, and in production is a 3rd command center and 2 more barracks. Notice the gas count. Nada. And these geysers are about to be populated. Cure is just pretty low on the gas. So let's continue to watch this. Let's go to the Cure cam. Players will generally get some extra medevacs. We see these Marines and Marauders here just do a little bit of work. We see the medevacs popping out, but look at the money again. If we want to be investing in +1 armor or getting a 2nd engineering bay, it's going to be mighty hard with this structure. Cure is going to get himself extra geysers here. But here's a scan. He sees Colossus. Notice how late we are in the game. Wow, we're at 12 minutes already. We only have 2 medevacs out on the screen right now. Here's one, and I think another one's attempting to tease a drop. But these are really going to be the only one, because immediately Cure is going to go for Vikings, which we will see very shortly. Let me just speed things up so that way we can see them. This is very common in the lifetime of Terran. We saw 4 medevacs get built as quickly as possible, and, well, you know I'm going to get Vikings because I saw Colossus. And wait a minute, how did that drop go? How was that drop going, the one that we saw in the medevac going up? Well, it suffered the fate of the usual drop. It goes down, tries to come up, killing probes, and oh my god, we better get right the hell out of here. So this is why people tend not to emphasize medevacs. Drops feel largely ineffectual. This Colossus count is getting mighty scary. I should be very leery of that. What's a Terran player to do? Ooh, maybe do some really cutesy drop action, but now we're just going to lose everything. And now we see the step forward into the mega late game mode for the Protoss, or for the Terran player. Massing all the Vikings, medevac count still at 4, getting double upgrades, whirr. As to be expected. And this is where we'll generally see Terran players asking questions about, like, well, when do I go ghosts? When do I get a 4th base up? Do I have enough to get extra command centers at the end? By the way, did sound cut out? I hope sound's still there. Either way, I'm going to load up the interesting games for today in the meantime. So once again, we've gotten the opportunity to see, goodness, kind of a brutal game. Kind of a brutal, difficult sort of feel to really get behind from the medevac point of view. And what we're going to see out of Dream is a complete flipping of this expectation. One thing that we saw in that game was the gas, but you know what medivacs cost a lot of if you get them early? Minerals. Very often, Pult skips out on any number of medivacs beyond 4 and just gets more barracks. The minerals that would go into the medivacs go into barracks. The gas that would go into the medivacs goes into upgrades. It's a muscular way that most Terran players are gravitating towards. Exact opposite from Dream here. This is Dream versus Stork. This is from, I believe, the round of 12. This is the players who got knocked out in Code A, all competing for one more spot. So first, what I guess we will try to get through this, the juicy bits, quickly. Now let's actually talk about a specific piece of concrete data we saw in the last game. Medivacs take a long time to get high. That didn't come out properly, because it sounds like I implied that medivacs smoke marijuana. Emergency afterburners! Dude, they tried to get us to heal, and we just giggled until we fell off a bench. It takes a long time for medivacs to get high. That's fine. You're going to remember it better, and that's what I value. Okay? Getting the medivac count high takes quite some time. So cool, we might say to ourselves, we want to get that medivac count raising up early. Also, I will note that this map is particularly drop friendly. Huge open space back here that's hard to cover. Go straight into the mineral line. Even here from the center of the map, we have this main here. We can literally walk behind here and deal damage. I mean, it's one of the best drop-heavy maps in the entire game, which is why I wanted to begin with it. So that way it looks like an extremely obvious selection here for Dream. And it will work on other maps. We'll see those as well. So let's go ahead and hop into the Dream cam of things. Dream is going to be monitoring this, and I will emphasize one piece of terrain. This right here, the space in between the main nexus and the expansion nexus. This is going to be very important. And you can think about why, or you can just sit patiently and wait. So cool, we see a virtually identical build to what we saw last game. Reaper opening directly into a reactor and expansion, nifty. And don't dare get that early gas if you're not going to use it, right? We're seeing Dream do an incredibly old opening, going for a very fast factory. In fact, I'll tell you right now, he's going to go for mine drops. Why on earth would you do such a thing? Dream is going to get the chance to show us. So here we have Mr. Reaper being Mr. Annoying. Run away! Accept damage! Explode into chunks! Oh my god, wait a minute. Oh my god, that's... Is that his face? Oh my god, that's part of his body. Oh my god, that's... Is that a bone poking out? Oh my god, that's a bone and there's a bone. Oh my god, wait, that's his shoe and there's a bone sticking out of that. Dude, look at it, it's a foot and a shin and a bone. Oh my god. Oh my god, I can't believe it. That is so gruesome. Rate this game teen so children can still buy it. Unbelievable. Okay. I think we're getting on some good tangents at this point. So we see some uncharacteristic moves. Super fast bunker. Not necessarily uncharacteristic for this opening, but maybe uncharacteristic for some openings you might try, or certainly for some other ones. Generally, we like to say, delay the bunker so you can get an earlier barracks, so you can get your Marine count higher. But Dream wants to make sure he is absolutely safe at the front. Dream. Mr. Dream within a dream is going straight for the starport, but we're noticing a couple interesting maneuvers. Mine is coming out first and then starport. We'll see this as kind of a consistent theme. This isn't the most extremely fast starport you ever did see, but it is pretty gosh darned fast. So let us again remind ourselves that in that game with Cure, only at the 12-minute mark did he have 4 medivacs out. Quite some time. So right off the bat, we're seeing rather early medevac coming out. What's another nice benefit from the medevac? Very, very easy to shut down oracles. We're still having Marines rallied forward and back, just in case. And then the tech labs promptly go down to make sure that these barracks can begin to catch up. This is a very common build structure. It went out of popularity because many players felt like they just didn't have enough Marine Marauder to play that muscular style. Remember in the last game, Cure was getting tons of Marine Marauder and upgrades and barracks very quickly to just go straight in against the Protoss army. Very often, players who were doing this when Heart of the Swarm first came out experienced the benefit that this mine drop did, but then just died due to macro-related reasons. Notice that it makes it rather hard for a Protoss player to be considering big Blink Stalker play, because if they are going Blink Stalker, no big deal. We can get a tank out. We already have this infrastructure, and that's very strong against the Blink Stalker stuff. Notice, too, that if our opponent is going Blink Stalker, he feels rather committed to leaving this Observer and everything back home. So fantastic. We've gotten ourselves a little bit of an edge. But the instant that Dream realized, oh wait, this fool isn't going for fast Blink. He's doing something else. Maybe fast DT, maybe fast charge, maybe both. He just cancels the tank. Very easy opportunity for Dream. So we're starting to see how he is getting to this fast medevac moment. We'll see another key thing here with this starport coming up. Really fantastic map to be able to pull this stuff off on. Oops, scan, had to kill that stuff off. Fantastic. And then we see just a suite of upgrades coming up. +1. Standara. Really annoying drops. And we even see this Mothership Core critically throwing down a very fast Photon Overcharge. I'm going to assert one more time that we are intending on doing a very medevac heavy play. So, it's good to get those Mothership Core overcharges out of the way early. So we see, here is the moment. We're close to that convergence point that we talked about earlier. What do I mean by that? Again, all Terran builds tend to flow to the same look at some point, and that look is the following. We have some of it here. 3 barracks, all the upgrades en route, medevacs being produced 2 at a time, and an engineering bay doing its thing. We then see 3rd command center coming down, 2 more barracks, and then soon enough extra engineering bays and ghosts and vikings and all that shabazz. But right now, we should be seeing another command center and 2 more barracks, almost always in that order. How does a Terran do that money-wise? Terrans will tend to, money-wise, build some medevacs, use this small troop, and chill here. Medevac production will halt, and a command center will go down. Medevac production will stay halted, and 2 more barracks will go down. Medevac production will stay halted, and some engineering bays and upgrades will go down. But watch what Dream does. He's just gonna pump out medevacs, and we're just gonna see some delightful control techniques. It's difficult to control what we're going to see, but it's super easy to just ignore everything and pump out medevacs, Marines, and Marauders like crazy. I mean, we even have this Widow Mine continuing to be annoying. And we see that indeed 5 workers have been killed off. We have the added benefit of having forced some photon cannons. Most notably, we've forced photon cannons here and here, but we haven't forced any here. Starting to put things together. Again, even if you're not, don't worry, that's the point of this being a show. I don't care much for this mine. I'm not even going to analyze it. So let's watch another odd move by the usual measure of things. Barracks popping out before command center. Now, certainly, someone would say, certainly Dream isn't going to be building more medivacs. Certainly that's a bad play, right? He should be halting these and getting a command center, or halting these and investing more in upgrades. But Dream is deprioritizing that third. First and foremost, he's going to be on the attack, scanning, killing stuff off. This is traditionally a really bold scan. Why would you scan? If you take that scan and you make it a mule back home, that's 2/3 of the way to a command center. My God, and that's the second scan we've seen Dream do. Still, he's focusing on dropping. He's focusing on aggression and attacking. What's another really funky thing we're seeing out of Dream? These barracks have been rallied into his main base the whole time. So there was a warp prism somewhere. Oh, Jesus, it's right there. This warp prism,
under attack.
Dream is preparing for by virtue of just being rallied into his main base.
Research.
And certainly, I'm even going to select the starport, certainly, he just shouldn't be building more medivacs than what he has now, right? Certainly not. Notice how little movement of the medivacs there are right now. End of the Marines, sitting there just dealing the damage. Medivacs heal at an incredible pace. Certainly, he would be de-emphasizing these right now. But he isn't. In fact, this is the play that we see out of Dream. Rally into main, collect, and send those down. Now, I want to point something out from Stork's point of view. Stork has lost almost all his vision, but most of the time, there's an observer here. Most of the time, there's an observer here, or there's something over the watchtower. This is a very subtle move, but one of the most important ones that Dream does. He just loads up his, like, 100% of his army is going to traverse from this main to Stork's base via medevac. So it makes it very difficult for Stork to do these sorts of spotting things. Darting in to exploit these sort of opened sides, can easily dart out, there's literally no risk, and then just unloads at the front. And if you're Stork, and you've had an observer here, you're just going to be shocked to see these continued blasts up into the front. It makes it very, very difficult to do anything reliably as Stork. And we see that there's another medevac coming up. Notice how different an experience this is from when we were at the same time in the last game. This is the same time as last game that we were looking at when the one medevac drop happened. But here, Stork has had most of his vision shut down. Even if he did have an observer parked outside here, he would have never gotten the chance to even see this medevac come out. And Dream has just done insane damage. Now, when we come back, we're going to watch a Dream close this out, and we're going to ask ourselves some simple questions of how does he follow up? How is he controlling? Are there different ways to do this sort of build? And we'll see almost all of that in part 2. Stay tuned.